Yeah, he was going to look into that, so he's looking for S bridges or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where?
Would Brox know? Brox was studying the S bridges, wasn't he?
Yeah, a bit.
He might be the only one who might know. I don't know.
Do you
John,
not...
did he say when it was asked how long ago did he disappear? What was the answer?
A day or so ago.
A day or so ago.
Uh-huh.
Oh god. Could this? And a day or so ago is roughly when I saw the thing fleeing. Or was it me or was it Rock that saw the thing fleeing with Dream Shard?
It was about a day ago that happened, or
Okay.
a day and a half actually, because you did kind of take a short rest before you descended down into the forge.
So that is a possible incident that happened around when he.
Correct.
That vaguely lines up with what happened with the Dream Shard.
What happened with the Dream Shard? Rossican says. And where is the one who bore it? Kind of looks around, and then for a moment there, you guys kind of stop and go. He wasn't in the room. We were talking with the king about this. Like he seems to know a bit more than you remember him remembering, or remembering him having known.
He's no longer with us, unfortunately.
Hopefully the king has not met the same fate. Lord Kurgosler, as vizier of the king, the good King Amfred Rostigar, of the kingdom of Rostigar, of the Empire of Parnak, I charge you. Your duty is now to follow through and find the king, his whereabouts, and see what has become of him. All other duties are to be set aside. Do you understand?
So, understood.
If we die, like, the responsibility is no longer on us, right? It'll go to someone else.
Almost like as if you didn't even exist. If you were nothing more than dirt on the ground. He doesn't even look to you when you speak. Rassicant looks to Broxgar with kind of a look of curiosity and says, I will continue in the studies that seem to have been engaged in by our good king, and as I have for the last day or so, in hopes of finding what he might have been studying and where he might have gone. Any information that you think is relevant or germane to the matters at hand, I would request it in writing by the end of the 6th day. And Lord Kurgosler, by order of the king and by the authority invested in me, I deem that as a command and not as a request for you. Do you understand?
Yes, understood.
The matter regarding your family has not been negotiated because the Lord King has gone missing. However, I personally have holdings that might suffice. If you feel that the current arrangements, he says, as a bunch of gnomes kind of pass through the hall, and the gnomes that are standing by are kind of looking on in absolute confusion. If you do not think the current arrangements will suffice, I can have them stay in my villa outside of the city.
That would be great, because right now they only seem to be getting in the way of my companions.
If this is to be done, I will ask a favor of you. The favor will be simple. I will not try and hold a favor over you. I will tell you what the favor I ask is immediately. Upon his arrival, I demand that you and your uncle do everything in your power to allow me an audience with Evandrin Barbagezi, the Frostbeard Prince. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Kale, as we discussed yesterday, I will make arrangements to see if we can get most of these individuals out to my villa. Kale goes, I don't even have to go to the capital then. You save me a fucking walk. Kind of turns away and just walks up the stairs. Just done with it.
Nice.
Rassican says, if you have nothing more to ask of me as I stay in your home, I am of course at your service until I leave.
Does anybody need anything for for us to
Well,
find the king?
You would recognize that as a formality. If another noble enters into your place, specifically a servant of a noble, even the king, he's basically asking you politely for your leave to exit.
Aha.
Of course, that is also an opportunity if anyone has anything they want to say to Rassican to say it now.
If you guys need potions of healing or anything,
No. That's not what I'm going at.
Ask for anything.
Master Rassican, a moment, please.
Who is this?
My name is Valette. I apologize.
You've changed. Apologies.
For the better, I hope.
Shrugs.
But just a moment to confer. We may have possible relevant information to add now.
I would like it in writing, but if you want to address it formally in verbal statement, I'll take it.
If writing is preferred, writing can be done. I just thought urgency might be best.
If it is some matter that this is definitely a matter that is urgent, so speak it. Not
Yesterday, it seemed that, and Valette is like trying to be aware of is her party giving her dirty looks because like she's about to spill the beans again by accident.
Absolutely.
Sam's always giving Valette dirty looks.
Well,
I'm
not.
giving you the elbow.
If you look at me, Brox is scratching his beard, and
Fucking
he's like he's about to.
underneath the dining table, bruh.
No, you misunderstood me, Zach. You were on the dining table.
I know, but after I ate the mouthful of food, I wanted to roll off the table and then sleep underneath it where it was slightly darker so I could get a couple more minutes, maybe another hour of sleep.
Rolls into the chairs, rolls under the table.
You got it. Like, no disregard for the pain that my body would feel as I rolled and just, like, flopped in front of all the gnomes.
Strangely, you feel warm, and as you kind of, like open, like, a like, crust-filled eye, you can see that someone has thrown some sort of blanket or sheet upon you to cover you up.
But, yeah.
This is great.
So Ren's nudging, elbowing is just like a shut up, don't say anything.
But Broxgar's looking at you like he seems to be totally fine with your honesty.
No, more like don't say anything stupid.
Yeah, Sam's look is don't say anything.
It appears that we witnessed Duran Belcard walking freely underneath a city yesterday morning.
You're wanting to tell me that one of the 13 was freely walking around in Rostagar.
Well,
around the time that the small earthquake of sorts happened in Sunpike.
I heard reports of this earthquake. What was the cause of this? Do you know how this came to be?
Tell him.
Well, we were in the pyramid there to find the Soul Forge to, one, help our fallen friend and help her find rest, but also to release me of the shackles of my past and from the conglomerate, and in the process of doing so, seemed to have had an encounter with the embodiment of my old soul. And upon defeating it, the pyramid, that's when we saw Duran Belcard, and the pyramid collapsed.
Sorry, hold on a second.
Someone's
Those
having more
gnomes,
fun than
man.
us.
She's having a
The
great time.
Good. It's important.
She's the best. Anyway, Rastigan kind of looks to you seriously and kind of focuses in on you and says, your original charge, Lord Kurgosler, still looking at Valette, remains the same. And it is now more dire. The pressing urgency of finding the king is of utmost importance. If my studies are correct. Looks to Broxgar, and you're more than free to come to my libraries and view my work. These esper edges are linked to the Shedem.
Wow, she found that
Perfect. That was
Hilarious.
I guess the gnomes aren't as quiet as you thought.
Yeah,
What is that last word that you said?
Shedem.
The demon's prince.
Yeah, the Shedem is basically a pantheon, quote unquote. And if you want to know more about it, you can make a religion check. Intelligence religion.
I had a hunch, but I was hoping it wouldn't be true.
I rolled a 21.
Ren, you're pretty familiar with this because it comes up in kind of rogue circles. It mainly focusing on one of the demon princes you're most familiar with is known as Vise, or Vise des Teshnin. He's the demon prince of deception. And basically, kind of when you're engaged in lying and the like, that's what you focus on. Hold on a second.
I want to watch what she's watching.
I know, right? Where was I?
Demon Prince of Deception,
Right.
Vise. And so the Esper Edges are linked to the Demon Panther.
Correct. And
Okay.
you would know, with that roll, you would know that there are 13 sins, according to the Shedem. And most religions kind of adhere to the Shedem being kind of the counterbalance. Some pantheons will have their evil deities, but in most cases, the Shedem is seen as kind of a real, tangible matter, a physical thing that exists that is counter to goodly faiths. The Shedem's 13 demons. They, as discussed, Vise des Teshnin is the demon prince of deception. Then you would have the other 12. The demon prince of corruption being Durin Balkard. I hope you're writing these down. I will go into them in more detail. Hold on a second here. Pulling out my religion notes.
I have them up right now.
Oh, you're on the
On the wiki, yeah.
Yeah. Alicia Nagai is the demon prince of seduction. Anna Slane is the demon prince of oppression. Balvareth is the demon prince of betrayal. You rolled really high. This is the only reason I'm going into this. Durin Balkar, demon prince of corruption. Grumnar, the demon prince of wrath. Gusion, the demon prince of pride. Humbaba, the demon prince of gluttony. Morbazenrot, the demon prince of sloth. Nabarius, the demon prince of oppression. Saw Derlithoth, who you may recognize the name of. The demon prince of envy. Tethington, the demon prince of vanity. And Vise des Teshnin, the demon prince of deception. Then there are two entities that exist within the Shedem that are not demon princes. There's the archdevil, or the god of lawful evil kind of fiends, Luciferal, and then there is the gatekeeper, the Diasthai. Each of those 13 demons exists inside of its own hell, which is bound by a single gate, and that gate is kind of kept at one point where the Diasthai reigns. And basically, when you die, according to most traditions of death, if you have one of these sins that's overpopulating to you, the Diasthai opens the door to that hell for you. If you do not have like a strong balance towards one of those sins, you are then spun back into the wheel, or you, in some traditions, you're sent off to the heaven of your pantheon. So in Elvish tradition, if you were to die and you're a goodly folk who is not sinful in one degree, you would be sent to the High Shazas, or the High Feywild, and you would spend your time with the Lefay, which are the highest of Elvish like deities, for example. Any other questions on that one? There's a lot, I know. I'll get you handouts eventually.
That's cool. Can we ask Rassicant, what was the king's state of mind when you last saw?
Very focused on the studies at hand.
Are there any indications of where he might have traveled in his research about the blades?
None. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come here. He would have gone there. Ooh, gross.
Sorry, excuse me.
I fear the conglomerate is in direct league with this demonic influence. In one way or another. I don't know if they directly worship them or if they're blinded by some sense.
Well, if what we hear from our companions is true, at least one of these demons was at the Soul Forge.
Not to mention the piles of bodies under the floor, the liquid pain that was being made from people.
I mean, you know, the conglomerate in general just being evil and all that. If you want, I can let you see my, like, theories on what the conglomerate's up to.
Ren rolls his eyes.
Well, speaking as one that used to be counted among their number, yes, they do seem corrupted beyond repair right now, at least within this city. Not every individual agent, but...
So we need to find the king, but we have no idea where he is. That's not super helpful.
No, that's not helpful.
John, are you there?
Yeah.
Did you hear all the stuff we said to Raskin? Alright.
Well,
He knows about all of the stuff they're doing, or that's just cool with him? That they have like thousands of corpses inside of this pyramid and...
That wasn't... So you're relaying that now. You're telling him that is the case.
Yeah, those are the words that I asked you if you heard. That's what we all just said.
About the liquid pain and everything.
Sorry. So he says, where?
At the Soul Forge in the pyramid under Sun's.
I will send over a contingent of guards, led by our highest honor guard, to verify that and
I don't think it's there anymore.
Or it disappeared.
Yeah, that was the temple or whatever it was itself collapsed into the ground, and that's what caused. But yeah, it appears that they are either in direct league with the demons, or at least under their influence heavily. They're heavily by demonic influence.
And apparently one mage is a lich. We found that out too.
Rassican kind of sighs loudly, kind of shrugs. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm assuming he's from Meridia. They're very commonly focused on that as a goal.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, if they're looking for the demons, and maybe these weapons that we have, including the king, has something to do with the shedding. Perhaps the conglomerate took the king.
That's possible. Yes.
Just something that you should probably be aware of.
No, I thank you for the knowledge. He kind of is kind of looking kind of confused for a moment, and then he kind of says, I just have to decide how I'm going to act upon that. Rassican kind of like stares at Broxgar. Kind of looks to the others. Are they aware of your position in the Talnamri?
Somewhat. They know that I'm associated with the...
As a member of the staff, I presume you have access, if possible, direct access to the voice of the Talnamri?
Yes, I do. As should you.
No, I do not. I'm not a member of the Talnamri. I am not allowed access to the higher portions of the order. What I would ask of you is, if you are intent on us engaging directly the conglomerate in this fashion, perhaps you should go and speak to yours and ask them if they're willing to aid us. Without our king, we are a bit directionless. I will act as regent, or I will appoint his son to do so. but I will guide him into this activity if your association is ready to do the like.
I've been keeping them updated on our dealings with the conglomerate. I will speak.
I don't think it's in the association or the kingdom's best interest in engaging the conglomerate in such a fashion without direct proof. Even if you were to have individuals who might be able to bear witness without any physical, tangible proof of the matter, it would be a bad move. Especially if the powers you're talking about engaging in this situation are as powerful as you state.
We didn't know what we were getting into, and I didn't know about Dern until just now.
I
found out.
I'm not trying to dissuade you from this course of action, Lord Blaze Hatchet. What I'm trying to do is make sure you understand the gravity of the situation that you're trying to engage in. A foolhardy step at this interval against the conglomerate could prove not only fatal for you and yours, looking around the room, and then kind of looks back to you, but for the kingdom as a whole. If they took the king, I don't care if it's fatal, we'll act very aggressively to ensure his safe return. The good King Rastagar has done great things for not only this kingdom, but the nearby kingdoms as well. You understand?
Aye, he is a good king.
And you
He's a
understand
great king.
that he has fought against the worms that tried to invade the kingdoms out from the Dragon's Bay. So, I don't think that's... I personally don't think that they would be so bold. Kind of looks over to Valette. But what you say might have merit. If what you've done, what has been done within that place, the magics within have been allowed to lapse, and they were in some way protecting or holding this demon prince from being able to enter the material plane, then maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it's tied to these Esper edges. Maybe something happened with his.
I know that it seemed when we had met with the king, we possibly freed it from its corruption. But in the process of being in the pyramid at one point, our fallen comrade Yen Lauren had taken corruption into the Dream Shard to progress further. And I don't know if when it was taken, it seemed like it sounded like a shadow figure was darting away with it.
Strange.
And one other thing to be wary about the conglomerate is the current Magear Kurgozler can make the dead walk under his control as puppets. He had the last Magear as one of them. He had...
Brazig.
We know Brazig. Biken... Well, we know that her name's Biken Ki... Yeah. Biken something.
Biken Masume.
Biken Masume was also one of his puppets that he had been sending after us several times.
Raskin kind of like looks down, kind of thoughtfully, then kind of looks off to the side, and then kind of looks to you and says, Biken Masume. She's one of the heroes of the Third Age from Seiryu. She was betrothed to Byako Seishan Subeta. What is it? Just a name?
I describe what she looks like.
That sounds like the stories. The hand of Biken, Biken's claw, is kind of one of the most important portions of her tale.
I believe he has been collecting heroes of old and making them his undead puppets for his use.
Huh.
So, if anything, this just means we must find the king quickly if they're at all involved.
I suppose the most important thing I have to request of you is proof. If you think you have enough of that as a matter at hand, to sway the association into acting alongside the kingdom, then I can swear that we will do everything in our power to move in that direction. Without the association's assistance, I cannot grant you anything.
Well, just to add, I mean, one more little piece of advice. I wouldn't delay, and I'll pull out the gun that we took from there. They were also manufacturing and or just storing weaponry for some reason, arms. Seemed like they were gearing up for something.
He kind of offers his hand out to take the weapon.
Yeah, I hand it to him.
A Meridian make. This lays credence to the suggestion that there's a Lich Magier present, but as a matter of proof, it could be very easily deflected from. I'm not saying I don't trust you, Broxgar. I'm just saying I can't prove it to other people.
No, I understand. I just thought you should know everything that I can work on.
I just want to make sure you don't think that I don't trust the words you're stating to me. That said, he hands you the gun back. What I will do is I'll continue my studies into the lore that I have available to me regarding these matters, regarding these Esper Edges. What I would ask of you, Broxgar, if you could engage with the voice of the association and see what their thoughts on the matter are. And if you can perhaps sway them into engaging in what you suggest. If you can, I will do everything in my power to either become regent in Good King Amfred's absence, or make sure that his son is elevated to that status to act in this regard.
Understood.
And of course, Lord Kurgosler, by order of me, it looks like he's annoyed at having to say it that way, but then kind of comes back to it and says, I need you to find the king.
We will not rest. I will not rest until he's found. Hopefully my...
As long as it's not a dungeon. We do a lot of resting in the...
Meh.
Yeah.
Apply whatever methods you require. And if anything is needed of the throne, you can make a submission via the courts, as per normal. A lot of information has been exchanged here, my friends, kind of looking to the gnomes beyond. I don't care who hears it, as long as everyone who hears it is trusted by someone I initiated to hear those statements.
Yeah, don't worry. If they're not trustworthy, I can take care of them.
Why do you hate gnomes?
I don't know. Just felt like it was the right thing to do.
He then prefers again to Lord Kurgosler.
Thank you.
For the, he's basically asking the permission to leave.
Yes. I will see you when I see you. I don't know if that's the traditional gnome goodbye.
If you say it in gnomish, it sounds a bit different and
yeah.
Has a bit of wordplay to it, and he exits. Okay, leaving you guys to it, and it's just shortly after morning.
Oh, boy.
Phase plant.
What I miss, brothers?
Nothing.
One more revelation that I think I should share with you all. I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I was reforged, as it were, I was made aware that all of our Esper Edges currently carry corruption. I know for me, I seem to accumulate this new power, as it were, whenever an enemy would be slain in combat, and that power, whenever I would use it, would take upon more sin.
You hear a voice kind of interrupt you in your own head. Not here. Go downstairs. And it sounds like Hawk in your ear.
May we go to the basement to continue this? It is important.
Sure. believe we had some hidden space where we could do this.
You do, in fact, have a hidden space.
I know. I'm saying it, but I don't know about it.
You go down there, and you actually see that the guards are they've just switched shifts, and a couple of them are kind of getting ready to bed down. When you start pulling the wine away and kind of moving towards the back chamber into the small little cave there, they kind of go, "Oh, man, this place is bigger than I thought." And
do any gnomes pile out when we open it up?
Nope, completely empty.
Nice.
Oh,
I grab a bottle of wine to sip on for this conversation. Fucking Valet's revelations. Little hair of the dog.
Close the passageway behind you and enter into this safe chamber. Still painted with the runes of Jacob Adams's wording attempts.
Sam, is there any way to limit others from hearing our conversation?
Talk softly.
That I will then.
Kind of magic.
Well, I don't want to tax his resources,
Right.
his efforts for the day, but
You hear the voice appear in your head again. This should be sufficient. Once the doors are closed, every one of you sees like these shades kind of appear behind you. You see them where they were standing, Bullet, and then they start to kind of manifest. Standing in the room with you, standing next to Valette is Hawk. Standing next to, I was about to say Ian Lauren. Standing next to Brock. Standing next to Brock is Sayre. Standing next to Ren is Byako Seishan Subeda. Standing next to Lord Kurgosler is Radin Veer. Pockets next to good old-fashioned Sam. And of course...
So we're doing this now, eh?
Hawk says, yes, we are doing this now. Radin,
Right. Well then, let's make it quick.
Radin kind of steps forward. We've lost 2 in a day. The connections have been severed from us. Looks to Lord Kurgosler. That elf had right to be desperate for action, but I think it's far too late. The Black Blade no longer tethers with us.
So what can we do?
What does that mean?
Neither does the Dream Shard, says Hawk. We've lost our connections to those weapons.
Have they been fully consumed by corruption?
I know not. And as he's about to finish that sentence, the samurai speaks. Yes. Yes, they have. Undoubtedly so. Pockets kind of looks around. Yeah. Undoubtedly so for sure.
So it's the same with the Black Blade as before when the king was under corruption, or is it?
Radin speaks in. Understand. These weapons can only be corrupted fully when either the sins of the bearer come to a certain point to consume the soul within, or when a demon prince itself gets a hold of it. In the case of both, I do not believe that it was because the weapons were allowed to be corrupted by the bearer, but were rather taken by a prince.
Do you have any idea where the king might?
Hawk kind of looks to you all and says, we know that the Black Blade was taken by who Sayre saw in the chamber. Sayre kind of looks up in a kind of accent, because I can't match it, says, yes, the one I fought. That former essence of you, Valette. That old soul. She was tainted. And she was definitely a servant of that which I was forged to fight for. It's the only reason I stayed in the blade. When the forge consumed that portion of the blade, I felt there was a choice to be freed. But through Vrock's eyes, I saw the mark on the forge. The mark of Durin. I stayed. I had to know what happened next. Why was this being marked in this way? Were they making other weapons like me? I was born. I wasn't made, but if they could craft creatures such as myself readily, as quickly as you are made, then this world wouldn't be long for it.
In destroying the forge, did we do a good? Or are the sins that will be unleashed by Duran a greater evil that we've unleashed?
Sarah's nodding her head. We did. And Ryden steps in and she says, if the forge were permitted to stay active, even if they weren't able to create as powerful a force as our newest companion suggests, then they still would have been able to create servants, forced servants, that would have been able to act in their demands and do horrible things to the city and beyond. Seishan Subeda kind of scratches his nose and kind of looks across the room. You haven't said much, Kolgar. You're being rather quiet. Kolgar kind of scratches his head. Yeah, well, I'm like my boy here. A lot of thoughts going in my head right now. Thinking a lot of things. A lot of damn things. And if I think too much, I start to get heated. And you know where that goes. Saveda kind of smiles. Stay calm then. Broxar kind of nods, and you see him kind of pull the black dragon scale mask over his face.
I will not succumb to any demonic influence. I am a blaze hatchet, after all.
It's harder than you think, you hear from behind the mask. It's harder than you think. Radin kind of chimes back in and says, this is the first time we've been able to speak with you freely like this. I'm sure you have a lot of questions you want to ask. Pockets kind of looks at Sam. Yeah. You got any questions you want to ask?
I know more than you do. I'm kidding.
Pockets was pretty dumb.
But you can tell from his laugh that he doesn't agree with you. It's not a I agree with you. It's a like he thinks you're dumb. Back at you.
Well, grandfather, if the stories that I've heard are true, you've beaten this before, haven't you?
Yeah. That's why I'm here. This is my victory reward.
Well, how did you beat Wrath?
By not succumbing to it. No matter the odds. Everything was taken from me. The easy path would have been revenge, rage, hatred. I didn't do it. Because no matter how hard I fought, it wouldn't have stopped what was inevitable. The conglomerate was going to happen regardless.
How do we defeat corruption besides destroying it?
I never fought it. I couldn't tell you. And unfortunately, Ithel's no longer here to be able to tell you. But she had a long time to think about it. 500 so years it took her. And she still wasn't fully finished with it when you finalized it, when you helped her defeat it. Community, honesty, openness, I guess that would help. Being willing to do what you need to do for your friends.
The king, Rastigar, he is a great man. Surely he could match such a feat.
You kind of hear a noise come from across the way. You kind of look over to Seishun Subeta. Men can be great. Deeds can be great. It doesn't matter. It doesn't belay what's in their heart. It does not show the true measure of the man. Just because opportunities present themselves to you, good dwarf, does not mean that in their hearts there isn't struggle. My wife singing in the background.
Yep.
I was about to make another gnome
Oh.
comment.
That's Smurfette.
It's
You were dressed like Smurfette and
the
it's
tailor.
across the screen.
No, I can't command her to dress up. She's not a... What? Weirdo?
You don't command. You ask very nicely.
I'm not asking her anything. She's having her...
Yeah.
She's doing her thing. I'm doing mine. We're just...
Doing her thing. That's
We're just
cool.
doing our things
That's cool.
here. That's fine. Just having a good time. I'm having a good time. Whatever.
So we just all learned that there's basically demons out that are going to come and try to kill us all.
Yeah, I'd like to point out I already mentioned that, and again,
It would seem that the demon that has taken the shard has something to do with its former owner, and not the one who was connected to it last.
Who was its former owner?
Everyone kind of turns and pays attention to Rodden. And she kind of stands there next to Gilbert, looks down at him for a second, and looks to you all. It was... Are you going to say something? Do you think you have a thought? Because I don't think you know who it is.
Okay, then.
Okay. It was
You
an,
might know.
an individual named Asheri.
Valentus has no clue, but I'm wondering if it's. It'd just be hilarious if it was the Major Kurgozler and that's what he was sending after us.
No. It was an individual named Asheriod Het. Asheriod was born long ago and has done everything in his power to make sure that the shard becomes its true corrupt and horrible, powerful thing. The shard is said to be a piece of an old entity, a great old entity, known as Derlithoth. In some traditions, Sod Derlithoth, the demon prince of envy, is the same creature. Depends on the lore, the histories. I know not the truth of the matter, but they do share a name in common, an old Vazriel name. The matter at hand, though, is Asheriod knew the stone was a source of power and used it to corrupt an entire city and take over and enslave an entire people in the lands of Vitalis. He was defeated, though. His human form was broken and battered, and it said he was destroyed by the demon prince Humbaba. Humbaba consumed him, some say. There are links, from what I can recall, from where Asheriod was from originally, the lands of Jornaris, to the west. He had close ties to a Goliath clan known as the Stone Childs. They served him even when he reigned in Vitali, in Acheron. Besides that, I know that he, unlike Cardiff, was truly insane and set on the destruction of everything. If the tenets of envy are to be considered in this regard. If he can't have it, no one will. Any other questions?
That's
So the
not
demon
good.
princes are at odds with each other.
Of course.
They're demons. That's not
Yeah.
surprising.
It's only by virtue that we come together into a community and act selflessly for one another. Kolgar kind of looks to Broxgar and kind of pulls the face mask off, looking into your eyes when that's said. Kind of like trying to burn that specific sentiment that Rodden just spoke into your eyes. Like, that was important, boy, listen kind of look.
I nod.
Subeda kind of looks at Ren, kind of looks to the others, and says, sacrifice is important, but sacrifice doesn't, in the end, defeat everything. Sometimes it's not enough. They all just kind of go silent there, kind of awkwardly, leaving you guys open to...
Right. So,
You sure you don't have any questions for me? Why do I get the broken one?
Sam just sort of ignoring that. So, any ideas where, like, you know, this prince might have gone necessarily if he did take this? You know, I'm just trying to think, like, we've been tasked with trying to find the king and all that sort of stuff, and so, you know, like, just anything in terms of a general direction of where he might have gone.
Well,
Or where you last remember him being linked to the community.
the king was in his capital building. Last he was seen, is what I think I understood from your elvish friend there up the stairs. Sarah kind of chimes in. He's the demon prince of corruption. Truth be told,
Right, so he'd be in a political place.
the king will probably resurface, undoubtedly so. If the blade has been taken over, and Duran Balcard brains in that blade, then sure enough, he'll be used as a puppet, corrupt, and subservient.
We cannot allow that to happen.
You're not wrong.
What?
Go ahead.
What of the from what I gather, there's 13 of you. What of the 5 others?
We can feel them, but faintly. It feels like that the others have been accepted, but they have not been realized yet. I don't think the connection is as strong as these connections here. There are more of us, and you have wielded us for good ends so far. Sarah kind of looks to Brock. You're new to all of this. Do you have any questions at all? I know where you come from. I've read it in your thoughts.
There's a whole lot to take in here with the ghost people coming out of the weapon things with the all the ghost brothers, man. It's I need like 2 minutes.
That would be a great TV show. Ghost Brothers.
You're not wrong. I can tell you one thing that might be informative for you, Brock. The sin we struggle against within is greed. Humbaba, the prince spoken of before, is our bane.
It's gonna be so hard for me not to giggle every time I say Humbaba. Fucking great name.
Wait. Hold on.
Humbaba. Love it.
Baba.
I'm just really proud of this. I mean, it's actually a name from like older, like. Anyway, this is what he looks like.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me double check something real quick. I might be wrong. Let me double check my notes. I think I just gave you misinformation. Humbaba's not your guy.
Oh no. That's alright. It'll be easier for me to say his name.
Humbaba's gluttony.
Humbaba.
Ashmedea is greed. I apologize. Got the wrong one.
Okay.
I don't know why I did that. I just wanted to show off Humbaba. He's cool looking.
It's fucking awesome. Awesome name, awesome art.
Alright. Any other questions for the ghosty ghosts?
Just struggling with what the next course of action is.
Do you think we are best served heading to Janaris to try and recapture the shard, recover the shard, or should we seek information here and try and locate the king? Do you think he could be in Janaris currently?
Pockets goes, well, if you're gonna travel out of the city, well, it's pretty big. You've been doing shit nothing, running around here, fucking up and doing what you've been doing. So, if you want to go shoot for the stars out there in the wilds, yeah, go for it. It's all good to you, all good.
Right, so Sam just looks over at one of the other, like, ghost people who's somewhat intelligent looking and just sort of says, right, so does anyone who actually speaks his language feel like translating? Because I don't speak dumb.
Well, I'm certainly glad pride and vanity aren't the ones we got. You'd be fucked.
I think Vaughn actually lets out a slight chuckle at that.
And I'm really glad you're not really fond of me because we got lost.
Yeah, that would be a piece of work.
Yeah, it's a hard one, yeah. Oh, I didn't mean that.
It's a hard one.
How come wizards can't learn silence in 5th edition?
I don't know. Anyway, you all kind of like look around the room, and they, yeah, that's weird. I don't have Ashmedea on my listing of demon princes, and I didn't mention it before. Ashmedea is the demon prince of greed. Sorry.
Oh, good.
That's weird. She's kind of like the first one that I ever made up, as Joe should probably be able to attest. But yeah, any other questions for the spirits here? We can't manifest like this for very long, and we certainly can't do it out and about. They all look to Valette, and Seishan Subeda says, "You're able to see us now, are you not?"
Correct.
Good. In time, the others will be as well.
Hooray.
For you, certain processes were engaged in, I suppose, in the forge. That kind of made it a bit more absurd or relevant to you. But kind of looks to Ren. Soon this will be a commonplace practice. You and I talking.
Hooray!
I wink at Kovar when he mentions forge.
Yeah, no. Kolgar kind of gives you like a just a big smile. I didn't say I wasn't proud of you. Anybody have any questions they want to ask of their spirits while they're out now?
So, with this whole greed thing, you're saying that's the bad stuffs, yeah?
Yeah. Sarah says.
So don't be greedy in the rainbow sword and you and me or be good?
Correct.
Alright. I think I can do that. Can I still kill things with it?
Yes.
Yeah, alright, let's go, brothers.
Yeah, I kind of got the most aesthetically, like, you know, not like almost hermit-like, you know, character to take up the blade, so it kind of worked out perfect. But yeah, anybody else have any other questions for their spirits?
Real quick, did we all of us sort of already know our sins, right? Except for, like, in character, do we ever have a discussion about our personal sins and what they are with our blades?
I don't think so. Not all of us.
Okay.
And it sounds like they know what they're talking about because Pockets just mentioned Sam's.
Right. Would you mind letting all of us know what the sins we need to be wary of? And Slash also remind me what mine was because I forgot.
Kolgar
Me
very loudly says, "Wrath, dude." Duh. Blaze hatchet for life, bitch. Sarah says, "Great." Hawk looks to you and says, "Pride." Pockets. I mentioned lust.
Yeah, I already know.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. All right.
So Sam is lust, Vrak is greed, Valet is pride.
Mm-hmm.
Ren is what?
Ren says betrayal.
Oh.
Sorry. Bianco Stations Debata says betrayal.
And what about Gilbert?
Vanity.
That won't be that hard for him to, like, just waltz right into.
Radin kind of looks over to Sam and says, "I'm pretty sure he's going to corrupt the shit out of this thing." I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I mean, not that we know he's been doing it, but out of character, we all know he's been using his blue whatever like crazy to heal himself.
His blue rod.
If you must know, too, the other Esper edges that exist in this world, there is a pair of blades or a bow known as Wind and Wave. They are ruled by despair. There is a dagger known as the Sword. It is ruled by deception. There is a scimitar known as Grandmother, and it is ruled by sloth. The Great Red One is ruled by oppression, and the Butcher's Bride is ruled by gluttony. Humbaba. I think he's actually holding it in that picture. I think he's
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your quest. Get that.
Everybody get the damn freaking Butcher's Bride. What's weird too about the Sunday games, they have the other ones, and nobody actually has the Butcher's Bride equipped. They're not using it because they don't have a fifth party member.
So when the special features of the blaze are used, it's causing the blaze to be corrupt.
In game terms, in crunch terms, yes, that's accurate. And basically, in fluff terms, that is explained to you by Valette and the spirits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Succumbing to the sins, using the sins capabilities, effectively corrupts the item. That's the cost.
Shit.
Yeah, in the crunch terms, it's this ability that requires whatever your special resource is.
Yeah, Crane
Right.
That's like your single technique. That's one charge that does something cool, or dual techniques don't corrupt.
Yeah.
From my understanding,
That's all right.
it's just the resource-driven additional resource.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've used it.
Yeah.
I have not used mine once, but I've
I
tried.
used mine once.
I need to make
once.
it easier for Fury.
I've used a shitload out of mine.
I know.
Oh, you're so freaking corrupt.
Just make it count my ranged attacks too.
Are you tracking how many
I will
times
do
we
that.
use it?
Maybe.
Oh man.
I think
What the hell was
might
that?
have-
Oh,
What is that?
I can't get it to
You
turn.
can't show us. It didn't go all the way.
Yeah,
He's been tracking.
there's a note.
I've used mine once, I believe.
Yeah, I
Me
think I've
too.
used mine once.
I'm not gonna tell you what you guys have done.
Yeah.
Oh, I know how many times
I
I've
know
used
what
mine.
you've done. I know what I've done.
I've also had. I've
Gilbert
also
knows what he's
lost
done.
all my resources several times. I don't know if that counts towards it or not, but
No.
okay, cool. That's part of it. I've only had a chance to use it once because I keep getting my resources sucked out of me, which worked out. But
Any
Okay,
other-
so that's really interesting. It's a only use it while it counts kind of a thing. When it really counts.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions for the souls or the spirits here? Okay. If not, you start to hear the sounds of the barrels kind of being pulled aside, and then the spirits kind of just vanish.
The world.
The barrels kind of pull open, and you see one of the old curmudgeonly kind of soldiers kind of look in and says, yeah, they said you were down here. Lord Kurgosler, there's a individual at the door. Her name's Effie.
Oh, good.
She's probably here to see me.
Yeah, she stopped by.
Right, you
she-
wish.
Again, she's not interested. You freaking weirdo.
Yeah,
Just
you do
give up.
realize that.
Just give up.
Yeah, John, he's just thinking that, like, he's obviously good enough that everyone wants him.
Exactly.
No
Yeah, he's
matter what.
definitely not being vain right
No, definitely no vanity there.
Anyway, he says she's stopped by just about every day since you've been gone.
So yeah, I would definitely want to talk with her.
Okay. If you head back up that way, you do see that Effie is present, and she says, Ren. So, I assume you stopped by the office?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
Okay. And, so I'm out of
I
a
hope
job.
you're.
I'm out of a job. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've already moved on to find other work. I just wanted to, I've been checking in, because you're not too far, this isn't too far from where I'm working. I took on a stint as a repair person for a lord down here named Corey Archild. And
Yeah, I do know. We know him.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
well. Yeah, he recently got a auto carriage, and he needed someone who was capable of, upkeep and function. And he pays quite handsomely, and room and board out here in Old Rostigar isn't too bad. I just wanted to make sure you were doing all right before I moved on with my life.
Yeah, thank you for checking in, Effie. I wish you well.
Hey, Effie, really quickly, were you able to fix Ren's car before you quit?
Was Ren's car broken?
Never
was
mind.
Ethan Twain.
Never mind, we're fine.
I don't think I'd be able to fix that.
Effie, you've been such a good employee of Ren's. Why don't you consider taking up under the Kurgosler household, and you could be our mechanic?
Do you have an auto carriage?
I'd like to say, you see Sam just mouthing in the background, work somewhere else, get it from here.
She says,
She doesn't mind gnomes. She is a gnome.
Brent, you offered me good pay, and the hours were fine, and it was all well and good. I am being offered a bit more by Lord Archild, but I of course did prefer working for you because I felt like there was I don't know, a bit more adventure to working for a private eye than I assume I'll be getting for working for a noble. So that being said, if you do manage to get your office back and you are looking for Another employee, an assistant. I know my accent changes every time I play this character, but
Yeah, that's okay.
I'd be willing to work for
It's
you.
been a while. Thank you, Effie. I'll keep that in mind. Again, I wish you well.
That's where I'll be staying, Lord Archild's house. She smiles and heads out. And then she's, oh, right. And she reaches into her coat, pulls out a couple of parcels and hands them over to Ren. And says, these were the last things I was able to get out of the place before they sealed it up. And she leaves.
Great. Make sure to open the last one first. It's a letter bomb.
Okay.
She kind of stops and then looks to Sam. Have you seen Winston lately?
Yeah, I talked to him the other day. Why?
Well, he left in a hurry maybe a day or so after you guys kind of disappeared. Said he had to get out of town. So,
Yeah, no, he's fine. Don't worry.
Okay. Leaves.
Yeah,
You know,
he did sound a bit stressed when I talked to him. Huh.
That was the second henchman that had left our group. First was that swordsman hero guy that was following Broxgar. Second was Effie.
Does not call her a henchman. That's not
Yeah, I know
appropriate.
that makes it sound a little bit like we're shady individuals.
Tawdry.
And Endemon is the
We are
king
not
of Osiria. The Ruby Throne.
So,
Henchman.
Well, it's better than the dude that came with us into the pyramid and ended up dying for it.
Ah,
mean Sonny?
that's true.
Yeah,
That
Sonny.
was more than henchman too. That was more like.
I would actually like to say really quickly. These are literally my notes on Sonny. I have Sonny the Bard, dead.
Nice.
I like it. So what's in the packages?
So, 3 letters. One parcel seems to contain a letter from at least the addresser, the person who sent the letter. It appears that it came from the Capitol building. When you open it up and read inside, you do see that it is a very short missive that's been written to you. It looks like it was written by Matilda, saying, I apologize. If there was any insult or uncomfortability in our meeting when last we spoke, and if at all possible, if you are available for lunch on a date that's already passed, I would very much enjoy to catch up on what you've been doing. The date that she requested, it was like a day or 2 ago.
Womp womp.
We can fix that.
Travel back in
Yeah.
time, sure.
Yeah.
Get a hold of Cardiff.
What?
Yeah, I mean we do have, like that, right?
You don't have to
Cardiff
fix it. You have
knows
to travel
outfit.
back in time.
Sure.
We've done it before, other campaigns.
Piece of cake.
Letter number 2 seems to be like an old job that you had done a while ago. The individual who had requested you do that work, basically asking you to re-up. This is investigatory work in Spellmoth regarding one merchant who is basically trying to find out about the shady dealings of another merchant. I'll get you the names for that specific letter before next session. And then the last letter is pretty much
A letter bomb.
pretty much just blank, except for one written line on the crease of the piece of paper inside of the envelope. And when you open it up and kind of look at it, you recognize the handwriting as being very familiar. And it says, "I'm not happy," and that's it.
Is it Mardigan?
It's Mardigan's handwriting.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. I have a letter for him that I haven't been able to send yet. So
That letter appears to have been dated like a day and a half ago.
yeah, I know. All this stuff has happened already.
So based on
I'd like to say
that being the
wasn't
newest,
far off.
sorry, that based on that being the newest letter, like a day or 2 days ago, rather, that being the newest letter, you assume that the conglomerate boarded up your house like a day or so ago, or was in the process of doing so, and Effie was able to sneak in and grab the letters before they were basically breaking the law and taking the letters.
Breaking
Effie's
the
awesome.
law.
Judas Priest.
All right, everybody's mad at us. We have nowhere to go.
I don't have any money.
All right. Anybody have any other questions about the beginning, starting phases of the planning of the day at all? I think as a startup session, kind of getting some kind of idea of baseline where you're at currently, this was pretty good. Does anybody have anything else they want to engage in?
Nah, it doesn't seem like. I mean, I'm eventually gonna write out a letter to Rasicant, like an official letter, have everything in writing like he wanted about our testimony and shit. But I don't think I'm gonna have time to do that between now and when we pick back up.
And a real quick note for you: you would know that the voice of this, basically each of the associates sections of the Tall Numbery has kind of like a high tier individual who's like the representative of that specifically. The staff's high tier person is the voice. The sword's high tier person is the hand.
I believe I've spoken with the voice once before.
I don't believe you have. If you have,
I'll have to check.
If you have, I'd like you to recall that individual's name. But if not, I'm pretty sure. Again, I don't think you have. Cassandra Orlov is the name of the
Okay,
voice.
no, that's not it. Yeah, Cassandra Orlov. That's who I've talked to.
Okay. So yeah, she is the voice, basically the highest ranking person in the Association of Tall Numbery in the city. So there's multiple voices in the entirety.
Yeah, she was the one when I went back. She said that, obviously, I can't act as a shield in doing what we're doing with the conglomerate, but that they would have my back.
Right. Cool.
She advised me to consider if the individuals I was working with were worth, the trouble we're getting.
Right.
My party, you guys.
Talking about
Hey
you.
man, I'm brand new. You and me can split off and go do our own thing.
I just got
It's
purified,
just
so
been
I'm
drinking every night.
hey,
That sounds very Yen Lauren of you, Zach. That sounds splitting off and
Sounds like a good life.
let's go deal with this whole Tanya shit. Let's go. Anyway, anybody have any other questions? Anything that they want to deal with before I think I'm gonna call a session for the night because I think we've handled a decent amount.
yeah.
Good setup for next session.
What was the invisible floating?
It was Unseen Servant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cast Unseen
So go get him
Servant
drink.
as known.
Matt's been looking for a reason to use that spell for so long.
Oh, I've used it a couple of times already.
If there are
Don't you remember last session?
No,
I had it open a door just to make sure it wasn't...
Right.
that's right.
Yeah.
If there are no other questions,
Unseen Servant's so useful.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream. Thanks for watching. Those that suck around.
Thanks, everybody.
And
Bye-bye.
have a good night.